What's up, guys? Jason Guyman here tonight, and tonight we're going to hit on why you can't grow your business. Excuses. I hear excuses all the time. I hear excuses of all different kinds of excuses, and that is exactly what they are. And today, I want to break those excuses. I want to kind of break down those excuses, what those excuses are, and how to keep from not making those excuses. So, how you can grow a business, how you can be successful. So, today, I know I wasn't on here on Sunday. I was actually driving to Michigan. We went to Michigan, DJ, myself, went up to Michigan, and we did a big permanent light job. It was two football fields. Yes, you heard that right. Two football fields. So we did 600 feet of permanent lights on a house. It looked amazing. It took us 2 days to get it installed. um, we went up with Pink Pro Wash, and Pink Pro Wash was the person that sold this job. And so we went up and helped them install this job up in Michigan. And yes, it took 2 days. And man, it looks amazing. Like it absolutely looks amazing. And so the customer was excited too. I was excited. And so this is what it looks like. This is just the one part of this 600 feet of lights. We did 600 feet of lights. We had to do some power injection in it. And it looks awesome. I'll scroll through some pictures here. But man, look how beautiful that looks. It is so bright. It looked amazing. Um, we spent the day there. This is just some more of it here, some more of the front of it. This was a lot of cuts in this here, so this took us a little bit of time with new guys. But again, this house looked amazing with the lights. The customer loved how easy the app is. The app is so easy. You don't have to do a lot of complicated stuff. But it was a great time up there hanging out with Jeremy and the crew, Jeremy and Jen. And again, you can see just how beautiful this house is. Again, it was 600 feet. It was like 500 and probably 90 some feet. And that's just the front of the house. That's not going back. We did go back this garage here on this side of the house to the back side of that garage, but we did not do the back side of the house. All we did is the front side of the house there. And again, you can see how amazing this looks. I don't know if the video will play or not, being I'm trying to do two things at once, but it was awesome. It looks amazing. You can see it way far away. Oh, that one was playing there. Again, it's just awesome. Look how awesome it looks. Again, it's super, it was amazing. Like I said, the customers were tickled to death about it. It was so bright. You can see it all over the house. Um, we did have to power inject twice, so that is something that we did have to do. But that was an amazing house. It was a great time. It was a little hot, I'm not going to lie. Up in Michigan, you think it would be 70 and 80 degrees, and it was 95 degrees. So Max stopped by. He with Max Exteriors, I don't know what his lighting business is. He stopped by when we were installing it. But the customers here you can see going back this back of the house there. But I'm just trying to show you how many. I did take a lot of pictures because you can never have too many pictures. I'm trying to scroll through because I did more than just. Here we go. This is one of my new favorites. I love this too. The champagne look is what a lot of times. I know Daniel did this on his house last year, where he actually did two warm whites and two pure whites. This one does one warm white and one pure white. It looks awesome on the house. It looks amazing. Like this house was, and then of course we're in Michigan, so we got to do the blue and yellow or whatever their colors are. So we did some Michigan colors for them because they have parties when they play games and stuff like that. So we can do the colors. This is pink. It looked good there. It don't look. It looks more like a purple here. The camera didn't do a good job of picking it up, but this was the pink of the house because we are a pink pro wash, so we had to send it. This was a Halloween. But again, you can see just how awesome. Look how amazing this house looks. It lit this thing up. It is beautiful. It is amazing. This is from the back. I know it's kind of hard for me to get it. I forgot my camera stand. I know I messed up, but I forgot my camera stand. And so this is what we're talking about. So again, permanent lights looks awesome. They loved it. Again, the app is super simple. It's not difficult. I was going to see if I had it. We was this little piece right here. We wasn't going to do this first peak right here, but we ended up doing it. There was two bulbs there, and I'm glad I did because it kind of broke it up and made it look good. We did have to run one wire from here over to power inject from here to get this. This was 200 feet to just the corner of the house right here. So we had to put power injection here, and then I had to power inject it one more time. I'll see if I can find where I power inject it the second time, but you can see just how amazing. And then this is a competitor lights, and you can see that they barely shine at all. So again, I just wanted to show you how awesome this is. I know some of you think about permanent lights, and so I was like, I'm going to show this job that DJ and I did. We went up again. Um, we left Sunday night, and we got started around by the time we kind of went over what we had to do, we got started around 9:30. The first day we worked till about 5 because it started pouring down rain. And then Tuesday we started a little bit earlier, about 8:30. By the time we left the shop and got there, we got to the job around 9. And we ended up finishing it up around 5 o'clock is when what time we finished this job up. So it took 2 days to get this done. And I has ruined permanent lights for me. I don't want to install those at all. Well, that last picture I showed was that brand, and you can see how they are. I know, don't want to knock anybody, but they're not near as bright as these. Um, the the new app for these lights are super simple, easy for the customer. That was my biggest thing. I know the apps for both other ones that I've done, the app is probably the most important thing to do. The app is very important. The thing that I love about this too is it got the metal track. So the metal track is, yeah, it's the damn app. I agree, Jason. I agree 100%. The app, I know with the app with what we used to use, I've had to go back to that customer more than anybody else. And so now we went to this app. I've had zero problems with it. It's super simple. Like, it's not complicated. You don't have to do 57 things and turn your head sideways to try to make it work. So it's super simple. And the app is what I like about the new Invisalign. So again, it is definitely why I like it, is because the app is a lot easier. Um, because the app will make you pull your hair out, for sure. So that is what we did this week. So, what all have you done this week? I know that as we get into closer to the season, I know some of your all's phones are ringing. Some of you all are closing jobs. And if you are not closing jobs and it's your first year, don't get discouraged. I see a lot of times people will be like, yeah, we close this and we close that. And you're sitting there and like, I'm not closing nothing. I must lower my prices. And that is not the time to do that, because you don't understand that you haven't done what they have done to get there. So more distillery estimates. That's awesome, Nathan. That's pretty awesome. Get some more of those. Let's close some of those. So that is definitely something that I don't want you to get discouraged with the whole Christmas light thing. The book of the week is my book of the week again. I'm gonna pick a different one because um, you know which one I normally say. I'm gonna kind of go back old school because I feel like this is a great book that if you haven't read this book in a while, it's a good book to kind of come up and keep growing your business, right? I don't know what I got a new camera. I know I heard the audio is a lot better with this camera. Um, and so and the picture looks a lot better with this camera too that I got. So but I forgot to turn it off and it moves with me. So I'll try not to move too much with it. But the book of the week, again, is The Ultimate Sales Machine. I have read this book several times. This is the older version of the book. There's actually a newer version of the book, I believe. And so if it doesn't look like this, that's fine. There is a newer version of this book. But The Ultimate Sales Machine, again, a great book. I highly recommend this book for you. It is definitely a book that will help you get more jobs, close more jobs, and everything along those lines of that. So, Mr. Getty says, wow, Crazy Bill TV, that's why you were on the lake. Yes, that is why I was up on the lake, up with Jeremy and Pink Pro Wash, is why I was up there. Wow, it looks amazing. That looks amazing. Uh, More distillery estimates. That's awesome. Keep closing those jobs, right? Keep getting and closing those jobs. Mr. Odin, can't wait to see one more time before I crush it this year. So if you want to come, and what he's talking about is our in-person training coming up this weekend with Paul Gardner and Dan Maddox. It's going to be amazing training. I love Paul. Paul is one that every time he speaks, I guarantee you, I actually was talking to my wife about you this morning, Odin, that I was excited and I can't wait to see Paul speak into your life and help you grow way beyond what you can imagine. And so that's why I love this class coming up with Paul. Again, if you have not signed up for it, you can go to christmaslights.io/IPT. I guess I don't have, I checked all the old one, I didn't check that one. Christmaslights.io/IPT for in-person training. If you are wanting to grow your Christmas light business, if you're starting your Christmas light business, you should show up. You will learn how to install faster. You will learn to put systems in place to install. And the second day is all about marketing. You'll learn how to do marketing and sales. And Paul's going to be speaking, and Dan's going to be speaking. And then on Sunday, we're going to do some stuff with the side of permanent lights. So if you want to learn how to do permanent lights, check it out. christmaslights.io/IPT. It's going to be an amazing weekend for sure. Um, and honestly, yes, the class is awesome, but the networking will even be better. I promise you. The networking is awesome. Started marketing with door hangers and Facebook on Sunday. No jobs closed, but about 15 quotes out since Sunday. So don't stop. Again, we know that it's early. If you're looking at Facebook lead, you will get a lot of tire kickers from here till November, and that is just the way the game is and the way the game goes. A box truck or van for installs. Um, I I like the vans where you can stand up in them. They're a little bit smaller. They're a little bit not as wide, and you can get in and out of areas a little bit easier. You really don't need a big box truck. If you want a big box truck, you can. It's easier to get ladders on and off of a van than oh, sorry, that daggone thing just scared me. I've had a bunch of bugs. I had some flies and mosquitoes in here, so I got me a bug zapper and it just zaps them. It might have scared me a little bit. But again, um, I like the van better than the box truck. I feel like that it's easier to get in and out of because now you got the side doors to get into. Obviously, the box truck, you can probably put more stuff in, but you just kind of play with it and see, what the other thing is too is what is your cost, right? If your cost is the same, then I might go with a box truck because it's a little bit bigger and you can carry a little bit more stuff in it. Um, let's see here. Anything else before I get started here? Uh, I would start focusing on closing if you quoted 15 jobs. Something in the sales process is off. Not necessarily. It depends on if it's your first year or not. I would agree it might be off, but I would also agree if they're Facebook leads, that is also the thing. Well done, Daniel says. Well done, bro. You amazing work. Looks great, right? It looks amazing. Um, we are going to the huge, and the keynote speaker is going to be Marcus Sheridan. I am so excited. He's actually really cool to listen to. I don't know who else is going to the huge, but the Marcus is awesome. I got to listen to him at Social Media Marketing World, and he definitely did an amazing job. You can't stand in a Chevy van. All right, so excuses, right? We all got excuses. I'm gonna pull up my little cheat sheet so that way I follow along. So here's excuses that we make of why we can't start a Christmas like business, or maybe why we can't grow a Christmas like business. And I hear these excuses all the time. And that is exactly what they are. They are excuses. Here's the thing, the power of words. The power of words are so important. The words you speak out of your mouth to yourself, to others, is super critical of whether your business is going to grow or die. And this is why. If you wake up and you start saying, negative things, your brain is just going to think that that's right. It's negative. Your brain is going to just have an issue with getting out what you need. And so if you start speaking positive into everything that happens, you will see that your life and your wealth will get a lot easier as you go. And this is, I see it over and over and over. And here's the thing, I understand this can be very hard for a lot of people, but here is the words that you have to start thinking about. How do I start speaking to myself? If you say words like, I'm stupid, your brain will automatically believe that you are stupid, right? And so that is things that we need to say. Don't say, I'm sorry. So, how can we say words that instead of I'm stupid, that can help us not be stupid forever? And it can be words of, at this time, I am struggling with X. Instead of saying I'm stupid, at this time, I'm struggling with X. It happened to me this weekend, and DJ called me out on it. And so I was having an issue, and the lights wasn't working. They were only working to one point. They were only working to so far. They were working so far, and that's all they were working to. And so I was like, what's going on? What's going on? Why aren't they working? I know that I have way too many lights. So why are they not working? And so I went and I started to troubleshoot why ain't they working? And I couldn't figure it out. So then what I did next is I went and it clicked, it dawned on me. And I'm like, I'm so retarded. And DJ's like, no, you're not. That is not the word you're supposed to be using, right? I am not retarded. Because what I realized is in the app, I only had it set to 310 bulbs, and everything after that was blue, which means there's no data, which means I needed to go to the app. But it took me about 15, 20 minutes because I was tired, I was hot, I was trying to get stuff done in a hurry. Why aren't my lights working? I had to power inject. I thought I could do one thing with power injection. I figured out I had to do another thing with power injection. And so it was one of those things that I was kind of frustrated with myself. And so the words we speak are very important on how we can move forward. And again, like I said, it's very important that when we speak these words, that we, even if we say some words to other people, I know Myron Goldwyn and just was talking about even cussing, right? because even cussing is words coming out of your mouth that will have you thinking bad things that you probably shouldn't be thinking. And so that's why we need to do it. So the first excuse that I hear a lot of times is I don't have any money. And this can go for a couple different ways. Maybe you're in business and you don't have money because you've bought all this material, right? I know that I've seen people say that you should go buy all this material in the beginning. I sell Christmas lights. I will tell you not to go buy $10,000, $20,000 worth of lights. I will tell you not to buy $1,000 worth of lights. Because here's the thing, if you cannot get business, why buy these lights? So that's my first thing. The lie you need a bunch of money. Go if you got $300, go buy 100 yard signs and put them up. Put them up everywhere you can. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Again, this is we are in August, right? August the 13th. This is what I'm telling you. Don't plan on closing a bunch of jobs just putting out yard signs right now. It's not the season. People aren't thinking about Christmas lights. There might be some door tire kickers and people like that. But again, this is what I'm talking about. Because here's what I will say, if this is your first year, you're probably not going to get many installs until November 1st. You may put out some quotes, but you're probably not going to get jobs until November 1st, unless there's one other way that I believe that you can get it. And it's a way that a lot of people aren't willing to do, and that's going out and door knocking. Door knocking, I believe, is I've seen it with two other people, three people right now, all across the country that has had very good success with door knocking. In fact, Daniel went to Florida, where his brother is, and closed a $14,000 job by door knocking. And his brother in Orlando, Florida, and I get that some people don't always believe this, but he gets 14 to $16 per foot. 14 to $16 per foot. So go close these jobs. And he does door knocking. He goes around, knocks on doors, and sells these jobs. So door knocking is definitely a way to get business at the end of the day. I know another guy, I know Eric gets a lot. I know Daniel's brother gets a lot. And I got another guy that's doing very well with door knocking. And so door knocking is a way that I know people that are closing jobs as we speak right now. So that is the one way that I know people that are closing jobs at this point. So go close jobs, get your 50% deposit up front, and now we can go buy the lights. Or we might need to go buy some more marketing materials so that way we can keep this going. Number two, too much competition. The very first thing I will tell you is who cares about competition? The only thing that you should be competing on is you. What did you do yesterday versus what are you going to do today? That's the only thing you should have competition in. If you called one person yesterday, let's have competition and see if you can call two people tomorrow. And let's see if we can call three people the next day. And let's see if we can call four people on Friday. That's the only competition that you need to worry about. I don't care if they're charging $5 a foot. I don't care if they're charging $3 a foot. And yes, there's people out there charging $3 a foot. There's reasons why I tell you to charge $8 to $12 a foot. I know a lot of people that teach training, they'll tell you $6 a foot. And a lot of you guys will go buy all these lights because that's what they're selling is lights. And then you don't make no money. And I don't want that, right? That's not my goal is to sell you lights that you don't need that you're not going to make no money on. And if you're going to be at $6 a foot, you're probably going to go broke in the end. So $8 to $12 a foot, you'll be good. If you're just starting out, do $8 a foot, right? If you know, and here's the deal: if you're out west, you better be charging $12 a foot and maybe more, because you can't do like we do across the country because they're cracking down on laws and they're shutting people down. They're fining people. They're giving people $100,000 fines in certain parts of the country out west. And so you have to do things that the cost of your materials is getting up to $2 and $2.50 a foot. And so if you want to hang Christmas lights, your cost of lights is going to be at $2 or $2.50 a foot, maybe even getting close to $3 a foot. And so this is why we have to make sure that we are doing things right so that way we don't get $100,000 fine. One of the businesses got $100,000 fine. They lost their pressure washing business and their Christmas light business because they couldn't afford the fine. So these are things that why we need to worry about competition. Only competition we need to worry about is ourselves. How can I do better than I did last month? How can I change my sales process? How can I add more follow ups? How can I install faster? How can I do it safer? What does my sales process look like? What does my customer journey look like from the start to the end? And how can I make it better? Right? The reason why I love Paul is because he's always trying to be an expert and to execute perfection across it and how to do it better every time. And so he's speaking this weekend in Charlotte, and he's going to talk about the two E's, what he's always hitting on to his employees. And so it's important that you understand of why you're able to do this. And this is how you're able to get $14, $16 a foot. And a lot of it is mindset, right? This is very much mindset. And this brings me to the excuse three. In my area, Jason, you just don't understand. In my area, they won't pay it. People won't pay that. Well, again, it's the words you speak. In my area, people won't pay that. Well, you're 100% right because you believe that you're not worth what you're worth. You believe that you're worth $6 a foot. You believe that you're only worth $4 a foot. And that's what you believe. And that's what you do. And that's what it shows. And that's what happens. And that's why you get $4 a foot. Because you tell yourself, you believe yourself. And next thing you know, it comes out as an excuse out of your mouth that they won't pay it in my area. Right. And so these are things that we have to do. You know, people in Paul's area, right? In Paul's area, there's people that charge $5 a foot, $4 a foot. There's people in Eric's area, right? Eric's getting $8 a foot. There's people in his area that are literally charging $2 to $3 per foot. And so that is the thing that I'm wanting to hit on is important that people will pay. Only reason why they won't pay is because you don't believe in yourself and the words you speak aren't closing jobs. You know, I had a conversation today with somebody, and when people speak the words that come out of their mouth of why they can't get something, it's super important that you understand what they're doing to themselves. They're literally crippling themselves for success. And this is why it is important that we understand. Because if we don't sell the magic, if we sell the bulb, and this bulb is an LED bulb, and we use these amazing clips and we customize it to your home, and we spew this crap about this stuff versus selling the magic and why they want Christmas. How many times in your sales pitch are you asking why do they want Christmas lights for? What's the special occasion? Is the kids coming home? Is it what's the special occasion? Are you even asking those questions? Or are you talking about we got this amazing bulb, we got this socket wire that we can cut in place and when we put our these amazing clips on and you talk about that? Or do you more talk about what you kind of magic you're going to make for them? Because if you want to sell $6 a foot, $5 a foot, sell the bulb. That's how much you're going to get: five, six, $4 a foot. But if you want to sell the magic and sell the emotion that comes with it, did you know that 90% of people buy off of emotion. Huh. But yet you want to sell them a bulb. So that's the importance of why we got to make sure that we are doing these things. Now, here is one that is a good, it can be bad, but it's not a good excuse. I'm scared of heights, right? Well, hire a roofer. You don't have to do many jobs. You know, Daniel did has done over $800,000 worth of work in the last 2 years, and he's been on two or three roofs. You don't like heights, but you know what? You don't have to do heights because at the end of the day, when you're on the truck doing the roofing job, that's in $20, $30 an hour task. Maybe it's a $40 an hour task. And so pay somebody 40 bucks. You need to go do marketing. You need to go do other things that makes you a lot more money. And you know what? If you find a good roofer, they will fly past you, especially while you're up there shaking. I've seen it happen. You're up there shaking, right? You're just sitting there shaking. And so you just got to remember that it's okay. Here's another excuse. Is it too late to start a Christmas light business? And I'm going to tell you no, right? I got to talk to a good friend of mine that came to one of my classes in November. He came, it was like the last weekend of October, first weekend of November. And he didn't do a lot that first year, 30,000. But year two and year three, this year's year three, he's shooting to hit over $400,000 in Christmas lights. That's that's amazing. And he's going to do it, right? He is going to hit $400,000 because he's doing the things that he needs to do to get there. And one of the things is he not only came to my class once, he came twice. He's been to two of my classes and he said he's coming next year. Why? Because he understands that every time he comes to one, he learns and he's growing and he's taking action. And that's a big one, right? It's not too late. It's August right now. I've had people start August the 5th and August the 12th and do $30,000 their very first year. One of the guys that did that, he's been in business for a while now and he's doing over $750,000 hanging Christmas lights in 2, 3 months, right? That's amazing. That's awesome. And so these are awesome things that we have to do. Excuse number six, I don't know how to price. Well, you do know how to price, right? You charge $8 to $12 a foot. You charge $40 to $60 a strand of lights. You charge $300 to $600 for 60-inch reef. You charge $8 to $10 a foot for landscape lighting or for stick lights. And there you go. There's your pricing. It's not hard. Let's not do it. And we got to sell packages, right? We want to sell the Winter Wonderland package. We want to make it magical, not roof line and windows. Well, first off, don't do windows. Windows are stupid. And I'll keep saying that and I'll keep saying that. Because here's what happens: cheap pricing equals broke business. And I see a lot of broke businesses. I see more broke businesses than I do successful businesses because normally the successful businesses quit calling me because they went from a broke business and now they're successful. And so you've got to remember that it's not about the quantity, right? I'm going to do quantity. I'm going to do 500 houses and my average ticket is $500. And yes, I know people that do this, have 1,000 houses and your average ticket is $300 to $500. I'm like, you work a whole lot for nothing. And so that is not definitely something that we need. The next excuse seven, I got 10 excuses, and I probably can come up with 20 more, is I need to it needs to be perfect. I don't understand how to do it. It's got to be perfect, Jason. I need this logo and these are actual conversations. I'm going to start me a Christmas light business. Awesome. What are you going to do first? I'm going to make my logo. Okay, go get it done and be what's the next thing? That's nothing. And then 2 weeks later, I'm still working on my logo. And 2 more weeks after that, my logo's not perfect. If it's 80% good, go with it. It's okay. You're going to change it anyway. I promise you. You're going to change the logo. You're going to change all kinds of things. And so it does not have to be perfect. The thing that you will kill you more is waiting because it's not perfect. And it's definitely something that you have to look at. Number eight, I'm not technical. I don't know how to do it. Christmas lights is super, super simple. I can't say much less than that. It's not very hard. It's not difficult at all. If you can literally slide, this is the hardest thing for lights is making a plug, right? And you just stick it in there, like you literally just stick it in there. You bend it over, you kind of push it down on there. You take the ramp side on the thing and you slide it on there. And this is the most difficult thing at all. And you just slide it right up on there. And I just made my own plug. That's how simple it is. Other than being on a roof, there's nothing to this stuff. It's super simple. You plug this in, the lights come on, and you're done. It isn't rocket science. Don't overcomplicate things. I see so many people want to overcomplicate things and make things so hard that it's not hard at the end of the day. Here's another one. The market is saturated. Excuse number nine. The market is saturated. Who cares? Saturated by what? You know, I hear all the time, man, all these installers are coming into the market. You know how many installers went out of the market last year? A lot, I promise you. You know how I know a lot have went out? Because I got it all the time and I hear it all the time. Nobody took my lights down. Why do you think they didn't take the lights down? Because they didn't make no money. That's why. And so that's a bad thing. And then this is the one that really drives me nuts. I'll start next year. Do it now. I don't care if it's December 1st. Start your Christmas light business. Start it this year because what happened is you will do 2, 3 installs this year and it will catapult you to next year that you'll be able to do them a lot faster. You'll be able to get everything done a lot quicker. So that is why it is important that make sure that you start. Just start. It's not too late to start. You know, Daniel did 179,000 his first year. um, Sam did $250,000 his first year. You know, I've had hundreds of people make $100,000 their first year. Is there a guarantee that you're going to make 100,000 your first year? No, but I guarantee you one thing: if you do nothing, nothing is going to happen. You won't make it. I promise you that. If you do nothing, you will not make it to 100,000. Maybe you want to make it to 500,000 this year. What do you need to do to make it to $500,000 this year? Maybe you did 100,000, you want to get to 500,000. What are things that you need to take action and quit making excuses for? A lot of these excuses that I gave here are excuses that are more for the new people, but I also hear it from the old people too. You can't get that in my area. There's too much competition. It's saturated. Well, why is it? Well, are you looking at the right places? Do you know what your customer looks like? A lot of people, I ask this question all the time. What does your customer look like? What kind of clothes do they wear? What kind of purse do they wear? What kind of car do they drive? Where do they send their kids to school? How many kids do they have? Right? These are all important things that we have to be looking at of who is my customer. Because when I know who my customer is, I can market to my customer. I can't market to everybody. If I don't know who my customer is and I don't know what kind of cars they drive, what they do, what their average income is, if I don't know those things, I don't know how to market to them because then I'm just putting a message out to everybody instead of a message out to the people that need to hear my words. I don't need everybody to hear my words. I need the right people to hear my words. And this is the thing that I will tell you, right? This is why I tell you to put pictures of your big jobs up. You know, I used to always tell people to put pictures of your big jobs up because then other people will see that you do big jobs. But then I realized something. You need to post that you do big jobs so that you believe that you can do big jobs and you're comfortable doing big jobs. And you're just going to get these big jobs done, right? And so that is why it is important that we make sure that we're taking action, right? We're posting our pictures. How many of you are posting on Google right now? How many are getting reviews on Google right now? And yes, I know that it is August, but I'm telling you, how many are reaching out to their past customers and say, "Hey, I'm a small business and I'm really trying to get my reviews up. Would you be willing to give me a good review for my Christmas site business?" Right? These are all things because Google's going to like this too. Google's going to love this too because Google's going to see that, hey, you're getting reviews right now because reviews are a huge signal to Google. And so this is the important part of why we want to start getting reviews. Are you posting pictures on Google? Are you doing your Google business post right now? Well, Jason, it's not season. Oh, but it is because we need to let Google know that, hey, we are a Christmas light business. We're not a pressure washing business and a Christmas light business. This is why you do marketing. This is why you do SEO. This is why you do these things all year long because you're not a Christmas light business and a pressure washing business. You're either a pressure washing business or a Christmas light business. And yes, you can do both, but you need to do marketing to both. And a lot of times, this is where our excuses come. Well, Jason, I'm just too busy. I don't have time for that. I don't want to do that. I don't like to do that. I'm not good at that. Right? We will whatever. And with AI, it makes it a lot easier. Pay somebody to do it. Get a VA. These are all things that you can do to make sure that you keep growing your business and keep learning and keep growing and keep learning and keep growing. Because, you know, I literally have people come to my classes two, three, four times. Why? Because every time they're learning something different. Because when you come, you're not thinking about this thing. You're thinking about this. When you first come to class, you're thinking about how to install. You don't care about day two. The next time you come, you don't care about day one. You care about day two. Why? Because you know that that's the most important part. Day two. That's why I preach it. I don't want you to go buy a bunch of lights. I don't want you to go buy that. If you got to spend money on marketing or lights, I want you to spend it on marketing because I want you to be successful. Because here's the thing, I will get you to buy more lights if I can get you successful versus I get your 10, you go buy, there's people out there that push, go buy $5,000, $10,000 worth of lights, right? And here's what I believe in, right? I can get you to buy more lights if I can get you to sell more lights. So that's why I push. I want you to be successful. That's why I push so much for marketing. That's why I push so much for sales. That's why I push it because that is the bread and butter of this business. That's what's going to get you successful. You know, I'm going to pull that up because sometimes I don't believe you always believe me sometimes, right? I'm going to show you a message that I got here that was an amazing message. And I get lots of messages, but this is one that I got not too long ago. And it's important that you see these messages because, again, I want you successful. I want you to be successful. I want you to be successful, right? That is my goal. How can I make you all successful at the end of the day? That is what I want you to think about. And so, with this here, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Let me move my big head here. Um, Appreciate you, man. I was telling Jordan, my brother in law, that everything I learned on how to grow a business came from your podcast and training. There are so many different YouTubes and podcasts of other guys who just do circle jerk on what they've accomplished. You bring more value than anyone else in the washing and light space. My wife gets to stay home and I get to more than provide for my family. Even if I don't hit 400,000 in lights, I've done more this year already than I could have ever imagined. Me doing just in washing. I really appreciate all that you bring to the table for the entire industry. Forever grateful. And you know why I did? Because look, I believe in himself, right? He's going to put out. He's got 2,100 yard signs. He did 120,000 last year with 600 yard signs. Um, and of course, I said, "What are you shooting for?" 400. It is a huge leap. And what did I do? I didn't be like, "Well, you're not going to do that." I said, "You got this, right? It's just like you got this. That's my whole point. You got it. You can do it. Any one of you can do it. There is nothing special about Justice. Nothing. I mean, he's a great dude. He works in youth. He is an awesome kid, but there's nothing special about Justice. You ain't Facebook friends with him, get Facebook friends with him, because you know what? He does video. He came to one of my classes and I taught him about video. And guess what? He does video. And he does them really good. Look, he's getting people to sign, right? And so this is what I mean. He's taking action. He's doing the things I'm telling. Look, he's making videos. That's my whole point of what I'm getting at. He's taking action. He came to my class. I told him how important them videos was, and then he took off on it. It's important that you understand what you need to do to grow this business in 2025. Now, I know I talked a long time today, and I'm sorry about that if you don't like that. Um, Hopefully, you get some value out of this. If you've got questions, definitely ask me questions. If you are in the Facebook group or not in my Facebook group, I have a Facebook group about Christmas lights. It's growing every day. I'm putting 30, 40 people are joining every day into this group. Um, and so it is not a salesy group. Go to christmaslights.io/group and it'll take you there. Also, if you want to know when I go live, so I go live on every Wednesday night and every Sunday. I know this past Sunday I didn't go live because I was driving. This next Sunday night, I might not be going live again because I'll be driving again. But if you want to know when I go live, especially on the Light channel, you can text the word Light, LITE, to 855-619-5483. If you've got questions and you want to text me on this, you can text me on this phone call. You can call me on this phone call too, but right now I'm having a struggle getting it connecting to me. So you might have to leave a message and then I'll return your phone call. Or I might pick up the phone. The other day, someone called, picked up the phone, and they're like, "Is this the real Jason Gammon? Like the real Slim Shady?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." So I do pick up the phone. I do answer the phone. If you have questions about equipment, if you have questions about if you need material, we got some really cool things coming ahead here. So it is going to be awesome. Hello, Jason. Do you recommend any certificate to get, because we will deal with electric? The basic certificate, I mean, thank you. And so technically other than becoming an electrician, there is no certificate that is out there. You might get a certificate of completion, but that's about all you're getting. That means you paid money to take a class. And so I will give you a certificate of completion when you take the class. But in the end, there is no like standard for Christmas lights. We fall under the electrical code for temporary lights. That's why we don't need a license. And so we're allowed to put up Christmas lights for 90 days. That's why we're only allowed to do 90 days, because that's what the code says. If it's more than 90 days, then it has to be a licensed electrician. So that's why we want to do that. Um, what software do you guys use for doing mock-ups for clients? There's a couple different ones. One that I know people are using more and more is Chat GPT. You can use Jolly Lights, you can use Canva, you can use Holiday Home Concepts. There's lots of different ones out there. Again, you can use Chat GPT. It's another way that you can do it. Doesn't always do it perfect, but it is a way that you can do it for sure. Let's see here. We got hi, Jason. Also, do you recommend any outlet like Shuts Electric If anything happens to the line for safety, customers remain concerned, what if fire? So if it's an outdoor plug, it should have a GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter. And so it's when, like, around sinks and bathrooms, it's got the two little buttons there. That's a GFCI, and it should trip that GFCI. Don't always, but it should trip that GFCI. Um, let's see here. It's like golf. You are your competition, right? And when you knock it over into the neighbor's yard, you say forward because that's where it goes sometimes. Um, a fine for what? Um, so a fine for hanging Christmas lights. Um, Washington State has been on it like Donkey Kong and have been fining people for it. So if you're in a liberal state, that can happen to people. So it does happen. Again, one person got fined $100,000 and another person got fined $150,000. Um, let's see. How can I be more creative in bids instead of doing roof lines, doing like specialty things like crazy trees and etc. Bid them out and talk them up. Um, and do the roof lines, do the do all the ridges, everything, bid them out that way, do a mock-up of it so that way it looks like what people want. Um, let's see, Danielson. I'm not gonna be able to read this because every time I click on it, it goes away. Um, Never understood how you know what competitors are charging. Did you just hear what that's what they are charging, or just curious on that what sneaky ways you find out what competitors are charging? And a lot of times it's you will get a quote and they'll say they'll say you're twice as much as expensive as they are. That's how you find out real easy how to find out. That is, or a lot of people will go and get three quotes, or they'll call 10 companies and get one quote, and they're the $4 guy, the quote that calls them back, and that's what they'll go with. But Jason, we need to harp on about our insurance coverage details and how we peak the bulb and why our installers are so much better than and then our socket wire is the best. That does not sell big jobs. I call my big package Clark Griswold. Definitely changed my logo in year two. It's dialed in now. I've had two guys. I had one guy 2 years ago working for me. You say it's simple, but this guy wired it like a crackhead. There were no mark making sense of how he did it. Well, I didn't say everybody can do it. I just said it's simple. Mini selling up here in Nova, North Virginia. I gained 20 customers with one company going out of business last year. They were charging $300 per house. Another Daniel here doing the same thing. Scared of heights. I mean, I don't really like heights. This past weekend, we were up on the roof and doing a lot of work because permanent lights is a lot of work. And I was shaking a little bit. I didn't really care for that. That's not my, I mean, I'm 6'6", but I don't like getting up in those heights. That's not fun for me. That doesn't get me going. Yeah, they won't take the down your post if you ask a question on a bad product. Let's see here. What else we got? Mock-ups, in my opinion, are a waste of time. I don't I don't know if I agree with that. I think that mock-ups are little things that separate you from your competitors. that separate you from what other people aren't doing, right? It's building value. You're giving what they look like, it's giving value. Um, I I can tell you that most people that do mock-ups have a very high ticket on most of the time. Uh, so that's what I believe about that. What are the plans for the next two trainings in Ohio and Houston? I was hoping to make it to this one this weekend, but probably won't happen at this point. So the one in Ohio will have both of them in Ohio because I have one in September and one in October here. Um, will be at my shop, and so it's going to be. Um, there might be a special guest on the first one. He hasn't confirmed with it. If it is, um, it's about door knocking. He might, Eric, he hasn't confirmed if he's coming to that class or not. So once he does, it will have door knocking in it also. But it's going to have in permanent lights and Christmas lights. So it'll be a 3 day class. First day is all about Christmas lights. Second day is all about marketing and sales and how to read people, and then the third day will be there. The Houston class is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit simpler. It's only going to be 2 days. It's probably going to be mostly, we'll talk about installing, we'll talk about it, we'll talk about the side of marketing and how to get jobs and all of that great stuff. I was talking about doing cool projects, for example. How do you get residential customers like Patrick Walker did a 60-foot tree for like $70,000? Obviously, that ain't around here often. I think it's finding the right places and finding the right people is what it is, because it can be around there. You just got to find the right people. And how do we find the right people? It's usually networking. It's usually doing things like networking, building relationships, and not always. We're not obviously going to the HOA. I mean, we're not going to the apartment association to try to find these types of people. And so, you know, as and some of it is kind of like our commercial class that we talked about, is the cities are doing it, and how do we get the city, figure out what the city's budget is and all of those kind of things. So that was kind of the class that we did last in Dallas, kind of hit really hard on a lot of that. And while we were in Dallas, they actually closed a $75,000 job while we were in Dallas. So that's what we do. I don't have the problem with height. I have the problem with gravity. Yeah, that sudden stop at the bottom a lot of time hurts a lot. Um, Over $1,000 average ticket, I rarely send out mock-ups with the volume of calls during season. Markups screws up the time. Just my personal experience. So $1,000 average ticket is very low in my opinion in a Christmas light business. You should be at $1,500 to $2,000 or more. And so that's what I mean. That's the difference between the mock-ups are things that are going to get us from $1,000 average ticket to get us to the 1,500 and $2,000. That's my point of the whole thing of where the mock-ups are the small things. Answering the phone's a small thing. Getting a quote out in 20 minutes is a small thing, right? When you do all these small things, this is how we get our average ticket up to 1,500 to $3,000. But honestly, we really want to be in that 1,500 to 2,000 plus. But that's where we want to be at. And again, that's what I mean by it's the little things, the small things. Fish where the fish are. Exactly. You got to know who your customer is. Which training do you recommend going for my first year? Um, the Cincinnati trainings are going to be, you're going to get a lot of value out of those. Um, this weekend is probably one of your best ones to get the most value out because Paul's going to be there, and he's here's the thing: you go where people are make a lot. I want to be around people that have been very successful, right? Why do I like to be hanging around Paul? Because Paul's at a whole nother level. Paul has done, he does 10 to 15 million dollars a year just in his sign business alone. He has a lot of other businesses. And so I want to be around people where I want to be at. And so that's why this weekend is where I always say that. The next classes, I don't know who's going to be there. I've been at a class that had one of the guys was one of the largest Christmas light installers in the country. He's number two. Um, and so he was in the same class I was, right? And so I don't always know who's coming to these classes. And so, I've been at a class that they did turf and they did like $10 million a year in turf. Guess what? I can learn a lot of business lessons and I can learn a lot of things off of that, even though they don't hang Christmas lights and they're just hanging there with me, but they know business. And that's the difference, right? I can get a business to 500, 600,000 with one, two, three people. But once I get to a certain level, get over that million, it's a lot harder to get there. And so I want to learn those skills. I want to be around those people. You know, it's like the saying goes, if you show me your five friends, I'll show you your future. Well, I want to be friends with those five people. I want to be around billionaires, millionaires, and billionaires. I don't want to be around broke people. Right. And so this weekend, Paul's going to be there and he's very successful and he's very open to helping you. He loves helping people. That's why I said when Odin, I can't wait to see what he says to Odin. Because I promise you, he's going to say something to Odin that's going to trick something in his brain that will set him forward for the rest of his life. Odin is 16 years old. So there's no excuses of why you can't come to one of the classes. I know you said you can't come this weekend, but in the future, the Cincinnati classes are going to be here in my shop, and so I'm going to be able to help out and get you a lot of information there, and just pick one and go with it is what I would say. Um, Keyword over 1,000. I hear you. I'm not trying to brag, but I was just talking about it and I didn't even see this. I'm not trying to brag, but I'm at $2,000. I send quotes with mock-ups every day, right? So Odin is a 16-year-old kid right now that's sending out that has an average ticket of over 2 grand, which is freaking amazing. See this diff. I hate this stupid thing. I scroll down and then it goes back up. Different strokes for different folks. A GPS offers several routes for each way to get to the same destination. Not always the same, though, indeed. So, with that, if you want to go check out christmaslights.io/IPT for in person training, will be awesome. If you need lights, you can go to christmaslight.io, take off the S. We have starter packages, we have things that make it easy. So, you can go check that out. Again, if you want to know when I go live, you can text the word light, LITE, light, for when I go live. And you can text that to 855-619-5483. So anytime I go live, I will send a text out saying that I'm going live. So you don't miss an episode of learning and growing and being successful. And so with that, I am getting ready to leave to go to Charlotte in the morning. Tomorrow, I'm going to leave here at noon. DJ and I are going down to Charlotte. It's going to be a good trip. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be awesome to see people be successful and growing their business and taking action. I've actually came up with something new this weekend. I'm excited to test it out and see how it's going to work. It's at the print shop as we speak. I'm going to pick it up before I leave out tomorrow. And I'll be giving away some prizes. So that's what I'm going to do. So, um, again, it's going to be awesome this weekend. You're going to learn a lot. You'll grow. It'll be fun. But if you want to know when I go live, text this. If you got questions, you can text this. You can call it. I may not answer the phone, leave a message, and I will get back to you. But go be great. That's what I'm going to leave you with is go be great this week and take action. See you all later.